Would you mind sharing again the results that you went into the hospital and
I'll
tell
get
us
it on my
about
cell
them?
phone. Okay, so that we have what they call a mixed response. Most of the implants were stable or got smaller. One spot got bigger, but not much. No new lesions. Decrease in size of implant on posterior aspect of the hepatic foam. Went from 2 centimeters to 7 millimeters, which is great. Decrease in size of implant anterior to the spleen went from 1.3 to 1.1 centimeters. A stable small left abdominal peritoneal implant, stable 1 centimeter. Cystic implant adjacent to the duodenojejunal junction is left abdomen stable 3 centimeters. Mild increase in the size of left abdominal peritoneal implant. It went from 2.2 by 1.7 to 2.4 by 1.9 centimeters. So she recommends to stay on the current treatment, and I will be having a break over the holidays. But I guess in the big picture, this is all good news.
Some coatings or some ovens will have, as part of the mixture that makes up the enamel, will have what are called fluorotelomere chemicals. These are the same class of chemicals that are found in nonstick cookware. So like perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA, is one of the chemicals that's
Because I know that sometimes when you start up an oven, it has that bizarre smell.
Yeah,
to it.
and that could be, I mean, with a new oven, I would always just say open the windows if you're baking for the first time, or if you want to run the oven for a little
Right.
bit. This is gas, so you always
Yeah.
want to open the windows anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because you're always going to get a little bit of carbon monoxide buildup, even if the flame is lit. And it's
Right.
consuming the carbon. You want to open your window a little bit. That's just a general rule.
Okay.
You know.
How about oven cleaner? Because you used
Yeah,
this before.
actually just taught a whole class on oven cleaner. So yeah, oven cleaners are one of the most toxic things in your home. Isn't that right, buddy? They're really, really caustic. They're designed to break down fats, proteins, tissues, which is why if you ever read the label on an oven cleaner, it says wear long gloves and long sleeve shirts and don't get it anywhere on your skin. Mostly because it will literally eat away at your skin. And because when people spray oven cleaner, it sprays into the oven and then sprays back in your face. And you've got things like sodium hydroxide, which is lye, which is you've got municipalities who will have vats of sodium hydroxide that dump roadkill and farm animals, and to dissolve the bodies.
Oh my God.
And these are primary ingredients that are in oven cleaners, and it's unnecessary. For household cleaners, you can pretty much get any job done with vinegar and baking soda. It really just...
So come over here, because one thing that because I have this porcelain sink.
Really?
You're not kidding. You really are part of the show, buddy. You're hilarious and adorable. I
would normally use Ajax because I have this porcelain sink.
Got it.
And I get these stains.
Yep.
Now, what do I do now?
You can use Bon Ami. Bon Ami is a similar abrasive. You'll find it in the same aisle next to Ajax.
Yeah, I've seen
but
it.
It's not. It doesn't have the Comet. Comet has, I think, Environmental Working Group. Do you know that company or organization? I'll show you their website later because it's really helpful for a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. But they've done a lot of independent tests on what are the chemicals that are actually in some of these cleaning products. Comet as a brand, I believe they list 6 ingredients on their ingredient list. Environmental Working Group found 146 ingredients in their product, and there's no federal labeling laws that require household cleaners to divulge all of the ingredients that they use, which totally leaves us as consumers in the dark, which to me is kind of it's BS.
So Bon Ami.
So Bon Ami is a mild abrasive cleaner. It's been around for decades. It's not going to necessarily bleach the inside of that, but if you want to bleach it, or if you're worried about bacteria, you can use hydrogen peroxide. It's not going to work as well as bleach. Yay! And you always want to buy it in those small brown bottles because it will degrade to water and oxygen. And that's why it's always sold in opaque bottles, because light and time will degrade hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then when it goes down the drain, it literally just becomes water and oxygen.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Science class.
yay. But yeah, so what I've seen people do with these older sinks is they'll take like an old white rag and they'll soak it in hydrogen peroxide and just let it sit there so that it doesn't all go down the drain.
Right.
And then just let it sit there and leave it. It's again, it's not going to make your sink bleach white, but it's patina.
Yeah. But I've got my vinegar,
Yep.
my baking soda,
Yep.
and I've got my soap nuts. And this is still some soap from the soap nuts.
Gotcha.
Which I've
Good.
been using just to clean the
Yep.
floor.
Yep.
And
And these things don't, as obviously as you can see, like that $2 bottle of vinegar will last you quite a while.
this is from Whole Foods. And it's earth-conscious ingredients, but a lot of times earth-conscious doesn't mean it's very body-conscious.
Exactly.
But it says no fragrance, no sodium lauryl sulfate, no phosphates, phthalates, or chlorine.
Right. We'll bring this to the Environmental Working Group's website because they have a household cleaners database, and we'll be able to plug this product in and actually see what the ingredients are. What I actually like to
Wait a
look
minute.
at,
It says no sodium lauryl sulfate.
but it probably has
Laureth sulfate.
It has laureth sulfate in here,
So
right?
this is sodium lauryl sulfate.
Right, and so there's a slight difference. Laureth sulfate tends to have byproducts in the manufacturing process of the laureth sulfate, and those byproducts are carcinogens, 1,4-dioxane. So they often will sort of switch between the two. There's a trade-off. One is a little bit more irritating to the skin than the other. I believe, I can't remember which one is which, but I believe that laureth is less irritating and laurel is more irritating, but
great.
laureth is the one that produces the carcinogenic byproducts and laurel does not. So there's trade-offs. But this is for foaming.
Right.
And so, as you know, I'm sure with the soap nuts aren't very foamy.
Okay. Right.
if
You can add glycerin though, can't
Yeah,
you?
it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. And there are other, what's tricky is they tell you, I always look at labeling on the front of the package, not as something to, they're trying to convince you. That's
Right,
that's
exactly.
marketing. And they're not necessarily being, I don't want to say they're being dishonest, but they're often saying like, look at all the things that we're not
We
including.
don't have,
But
exactly.
they're not being forthcoming about what they do, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
So I tend to not pay too much attention to what's here, and instead we'll look at the back. And I usually like to look at the warning labels. Anything that says caution, warning, or danger, I tend to stay away from because that's kind of an obvious, overt warning that it's toxic, dangerous.
Exactly. Don't go near this product.
Yeah, keep away from children, use in
Yeah.
a ventilated space. Like, these are all indications that there's some toxicity issues. You've got blue skies and green grass, and this is a
Yeah.
Whole Foods brand, so they're being at least forthcoming to a certain extent. They're probably better, but we don't necessarily know if they're best. And, we want to make the best choices, not just the better choices when we can.
Yeah, I've become a big label reader.
But that's part of it. And,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with food. You can buy the pseudo, look at our chicken, and it's on this red barn with these white picket fence and the rolling hills, and that's not at all where chickens are raised.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
like
totally
girls
like
and sirens and
Hey, it's New York. People are going to be like, wow, living in New York is really noisy.
Forget about all these additives in the products. What about the noise pollution?
Oh my God, there's something to be said for that.
I know. Quiet. Come here.
Felix, come sit with us and lick my hand again.
Do you want a carrot?
Oh, he's so handsome.
I found him in the street.
No.
Yeah, it was a little skeleton, weren't
Look at your little tooth.
I know.
This is their ingredient list. And this is, this lavender, this is that general, lavender can be irritating to some people.
Cancer.
Right. And so that's just, this is why unscented is generally speaking a good idea, but still also making sure that there doesn't say fragrance on the back, because
Right.
unscented doesn't mean fragrance free. It just means it doesn't have a scent, and sometimes they add neutralizing scents or
So
scents
that it doesn't smell bad.
so it doesn't smell bad. And so even though something says unscented, I just think it's smart to read the back anyway. But we can go and look at one of their other guides, which is the Skin Deep guide, which looks at personal care products. And
Oh
so
yeah,
we
and I
can,
brought up my makeup here
Yeah.
too.
I have this conversation with my clients often as sort of the great beauty myth, and that women have been sacrificing their health in the name of beauty since we've been walking this earth. People in Elizabethan times used to bleed themselves with leeches and other methods because being pale was considered aristocratic. They put lead and arsenic in their makeup because being pale was considered aristocratic. And there were, dire health consequences because of that. In various cultures around the world, there's all kinds of body modifications that people do. You've got people stretching out their lips
Or
and
the
putting
Chinese
in
binding their feet.
foot binding. You've got the
plates and the neck.
oh my
God.
Myanmar and the Burmese people stretching pressing their collarbones down and putting brass rings on their necks. And we consider those to be dramatic, gross forms of body modification. Yet we're using makeup that has cancer-causing chemicals in it, hormone-disrupting chemicals in it every single day. And we're modifying our bodies, so to speak, in a far more deadly way than just a stretched out neck. Not to diminish this, struggles that those people, because there are consequences there as well. They can suffocate if they take those rings off.
Oh, they can never take them off because they can't hold their head
They can't hold their head up, and foot binding obviously is a horrible practice. But the symptoms, so to speak, are in plain sight. Here you can't see what's going on, and it just frustrates the compounds the problem of people trying to do something about it. So you're like, do something about what? There's no problem. Being in New York City, you're on 14th Street, you're on a busy street, you're high up, but there's still air pollution that's coming in.
And I used to have single-paned windows with old wood frames. I mean, I finally got the double-pane windows some years ago, and the reduction in dirt. I mean, there used to be soot on my windowsill. After even a week, I could write my name.
Absolutely.
And now, fortunately, that's been cut down as well as the noise, believe it or not, by these double-paned windows.
Yeah.
But before that, it was horrible.
Well,
And plus, the buses, I think, were much worse.
well, they're also spewing their exhaust much higher up.
Yeah.
But either way, you're getting, whether it's the particulate matter, which is obviously going to be an issue, those are all like combustion byproducts known as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. All carcinogens, don't want them in your environment. Volatile compounds like benzenes and formaldehyde, that's often also coming from furniture, that we just, anything that's particle board, anything that's from IKEA that's made with MDF or pressed wood, uses formaldehyde as a adhesive and as a preservative in the wood. So
Wow.
You're getting this slow release of things like formaldehyde. You've got...
And what about paints? Doesn't some wall paints slowly leach out?
Yeah, so you can get like low VOC paints. VOCs are these volatile organic compounds. And they're lower VOCs. Oh, Felix, he wants some attention. But they're still going to be present. So if you're going to be painting, you open up all the windows and you go sleep at a friend's house. But so the home is filled with all of these things that are slowly off-gassing. If you're dry cleaning your clothes in any way and you bring your dry cleaned clothes and you put them in your closet, those are off-gassing perchloroethylene, which is a dry cleaning solvent, neurotoxic, carcinogenic, not something that you want to be releasing slowly into the air. So we think of outdoor air pollution as being a bigger problem, but indoor air pollution is just as big a problem, and in fact it can be a bigger problem because we've got double pane windows that seal everything else out, but that also seals what is off-gassing in. And so the easiest remedy for that is houseplants.
Oh.
And lots of
cactus.
them. That's not, I saw that. That's not enough. So lots of greenhouse plants, because not only are they going to clean the air and produce oxygen, but they actually have the ability to sequester a lot of these volatile compounds like benzene and formaldehyde in the roots and in the soil. You would be surprised at the difference it will make just in this small space.
Wow.
And you could probably get away with 4 or 5 good-sized houseplants, and that would clean the air in here.
I'm going to the plant store.
So go to the plant store and buy a ton of plants, and not only will it look awesome in here, but it will feel awesome. The energy will be better. The air will be much cleaner. All of these plants, and it'll tell you, you know, they takes benzene out, formaldehyde, trichloroethylene,
Ammonia.
xylene, toluene. These are,
Yeah, here's all the philodendrons.
yep. And so they'll take some out. And so, for example, this one, pot mums, forest chrysanthemum, takes them all out.
Wow.
And only a few of them take them all out. Peace lily, but that's toxic to cats and dogs. But you can put those up high because Felix isn't jumping up anywhere.
Exactly. No, he's not interested in plants. He wants carrots.
Oh, that's really cute. And so I always tell people who have attached garages, because people who have attached garages in their homes, this is obviously not for New York City residents, but you kind of do.
Yeah, exactly. We have an entire
Yeah.
attached garage here.
But for those people, studies have shown that they've got higher levels of benzene in their home circulating in the air if you have an attached garage than if you don't have an attached garage. And it's just because even if you have the garage door open when you start the engine, there's still going to be some gases and fumes that are going to stay in there. And then when you open the garage door into your house, you suck them into the house.
Yeah.
Every time you go in and out of that door.
The bedroom where I grew up was above a garage.
Right. And so I tell people, well, you're not going to be able to, I'm not going to tell you to detach your garage because that's not going to happen. But what you can do is fill your house, particularly around that area, with plants that sequester benzene. You know, if our immune systems are struggling to deal with a cancer or whatever, it doesn't make sense to add things into our body that are carcinogens.
Right.
This just doesn't make sense, and yet people are doing it blindly every single day, and it's in so many different places. It's frustrating, but not surprising to see the rates of cancer going up.